So you know the saying that there's more than meets the eye? Well, I can't think of a more perfect person this applies to than Kazumi. On top of being one of the highest earning creators on OnlyFans, she's secretly a marketing genius who's used some of the most creative and strategic methods to make over $5 million in a relatively short amount of time.
5 million net, not gross.
Oh my
crazy.
God.
But first, we should mention this episode's going to be a little bit more explicit than the usual episode. So if you have kids or Gigi, my grandma, if you're watching this, turn it off right now, just letting you know so you aren't surprised.
We also want to give everyone a chance to talk, and we think that we could learn something from everybody. And this is one of those episodes that I think is incredibly interesting.
Kazumi has an amazing story, and it was very enlightening for me personally, and I'm sure you felt similarly. So we couldn't be more excited to share this with you guys. And with that said, let's get on to the podcast.
But first, we got to thank our sponsor, Kudos, because like you, we enjoy saving money, but sometimes saving money could end up costing more time than it's worth.
Just like when you spent 45 minutes looking for a free parking spot when it would have just cost us like $2.
When was this? This is
many times. Well, today's sponsor, Kudos, will not only save you money, but also time, and it's also super easy to use.
Kudos is a free smart wallet that helps you get the most rewards and benefits out of your credit cards whenever you shop online. Just shop around like normal, and at checkout, Kudos will show you the best cards that get you the most amount of money back into your pocket.
Since every card has so many hidden benefits like purchase protection or travel insurance, remembering exactly which card is best is pretty much impossible.
This is why the average user unlocks $750 a year of value with Kudos. Just think of all the extra travel or things that you could do with the extra money.
I was buying a Christmas gift for my editor the other day, and I was going to use my Amex Platinum until Kudos automatically recommended I use the Amazon Rewards Visa card, which earns me 5% cash back. To be honest, I didn't even remember I had Kudos installed, yet it still saved me money.
So to celebrate for the holidays, we're partnering with Kudos and giving the first 1,000 people a $10 Amazon gift card when you sign up by December 25th. Just a reminder, you should probably get it done sooner than later since you only have a week left.
All you have to do is click the link down below in the description, sign up with the code ICH, and then make your first autofill purchase with Kudos, and you'll get a free $10 Amazon gift card.
So stop throwing away free money and take back what's already yours by signing up for Kudos free today. And now with that said,
let's get back to the
podcast.
Do you guys have the cutest podcast set up?
Do you mind if I use that on my website for branding?
Yes, I actually do
yeah.
mind. I actually do mind.
I'm not asking you, Jack.
Okay.
Jack, what's up with your hair?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know, man.
wild.
No,
I
we're
don't know
starting
what's going on
we've
with my
started
hair.
the podcast.
You look like one of those like TikTok guys. You know, like those like fluffy broomhead TikTok guys.
All right,
do
let's
that,
just not
Jack.
cut to this camera for a little bit. Thank you so much for joining, Kazumi.
Thanks for having
Really
me back
appreciate
again.
it. What brings you back to Las Vegas?
Well, we did this podcast a few months ago. I misinterpreted what the podcast is about, and I felt like I just talked about sex like 100% of the time, and I should have just talked about how sex makes me a lot of money 100% of the time. So I'm rebranding.
That's a way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, what happened is we filmed with Kazumi. What was that, like 3-4 months ago?
I'm just a new girl.
It was
you know?
it was quite some time ago, and we brought her on the podcast. It was, I don't know, a month or two after we shot with Stella, and that podcast did great. Everyone loved
People
it.
really like that one.
And we had you on, and I feel like 95% of the conversation was just like,
I'm here to talk strategy
Yeah.
and fun games and whatnot.
We make the podcast as if his grandma's watching, and she
Okay.
is. And so we want to make it appropriate for everyone's grandma.
Hi, Jack's grandma.
so, Kazumi, you're in Vegas because apparently you like to eat soup in Vegas and also do a bunch of podcasts in Vegas.
Yes, I come here for podcasts and soup, and that's the only reason I will come to the city.
I have seen you blowing up on like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, YouTube, everything.
So have I, actually. The amount of clips that are spiraling right now.
Me too.
What are you
She's
trying
all
to say
over
about your
my
guys'
feed
For You
everywhere.
page? Yeah, what's up with your
It's TikToks.
I
A lot
am
of TikToks.
I am like a cancer you just cannot destroy. You know who inspired me, actually? I hate this guy. I think he's my Hitler, but Andrew Tate and his affiliate program. I did something quite similar with my Discord where I had my simps make memes of me and like populate TikTok and just kind of just keep multiplying memes in rewards for nudes.
So you emulated the Tate marketing model.
It's
basically.
like the antithesis of Tate, yeah.
But you did the same thing where you got people to make memes and stuff,
Yeah.
posted it everywhere, hoped it went viral, and
Yeah.
then that kind of like drove traffic to your OnlyFans.
But instead of giving them money, you gave them nudes?
I gave them something of equal or higher value, yes.
No, you did not.
Yes. I gave them, it depended. Like sometimes I'd be like, okay, if something goes viral, that's a free video. Or like, let's say like if you get this amount of followers, I incentivize you in some certain way. But either way, I wanted a lot of people to see me all the time, everywhere, regardless of what your algorithm says. So
Wow.
yeah, that's what I've been
That's
doing.
smart. So what's the threshold then? Is it like 500,000 views, a million views, or like what's the tier
I would
list?
say at this point right now, it's more so. I used to. I'm pivoting to focusing more on quality because some of my Sims memes were like, I was like, who, like, that's not funny. Like, what the.
All right.
But I have my own team that like gets a lot of like what I do on podcasts, YouTubes, and skits, and they make their own little TikToks, and like people will make memes out of like what currently exists as well.
And how have you seen that transform your OnlyFans business? Do you see like that actually helps a ton? That's a viable business model?
Yeah, I just cleared my 5th million, so that's
What do you
really
mean
cool.
your 5th million?
So I made 4 million on April, and as of a few days ago, I hit 5 million. So that was my fastest million I've ever made by myself, which
Oh my
is
gosh,
cool.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Is that 5 million in like net?
5 million net, not gross.
Oh
That's
my
crazy.
God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The IRS is going to love you.
They
Yeah.
f***ing love me, and I f***ing hate them.
And the state of California, too. Is
I know. I've been
very
thinking
happy.
about
Yeah.
Vegas and like moving
we
somewhere
go.
else. I've been thinking about ultimately moving to Europe. I just came back from Berlin a few days ago, and I just found it. I just felt like it made a lot more
Okay.
sense over there. Yeah,
Got it.
but it's just been kind of like, how do I make sure you're seeing me no matter what? You know.
Yeah.
So you did $5 million in net profit basically since the beginning of your OnlyFans career?
Yes.
We'll talk a little bit more about the numbers, but how did you get into this specific business?
So specifically, I was a marketing executive before I had my OnlyFans, and during the advent of COVID, I wanted a remote job and I wanted residual income, and OnlyFans was kind of it. So I already was comfortable with people seeing me like that. I've already dealt with that social stigma without getting paid for it. So I was like, I might as well start making money off of it. But I didn't have a social media the first year I made an OnlyFans because I didn't want my parents to find out, and I just wanted to be super discreet. So I focused a lot on making memes. And that was kind of like how I would make a lot of my income first starting out.
How would you make a meme?
My first ever meme was a picture. I photoshopped a picture of myself on a Fox News headline saying I got kicked out of Harvard, and that blew up everywhere. It went on like World Star, it went on No Jumper, it went on all these other platforms, and I didn't have to get naked or be hot because I just didn't think I was a hot girl back then that would get followers for being hot. I felt like I could get followers for creating discussion, which is what I did.
Got it. But how would that then drive traffic to OnlyFans? If you're worried about your parents finding out, wouldn't that be very likely to be found out?
I just didn't want to. I think first and foremost, I just was really insecure of how I looked. I didn't think I fit the bill of what an Instagram model looked at the time. That was before I got boobs and a BBL and shit like that. So I just was like, I feel like the best way, and also just in general, you don't send your homies pictures of hot girls. You send your homies memes, you know, like what causes conversation, what creates a community are our memes. And I felt like that was also a safe way to get people onto my platform without me sharing too much.
Got it. So what's the Harvard meme? Could you explain this?
The Harvard meme was me pretending to get kicked out of Harvard, yeah.
For doing what?
For having an OnlyFans.
How did you spin that?
I mean, what do you mean how did I spin
Like
that?
how did you create it from like start to like how did you come up with the idea? How did you execute it? Where do you post it?
What I did was I made the meme and then I messaged. So at the time I would grow my following by buying promo. So you could message like big Instagram influencers, obviously big Twitter influencers and even like news outlets and have them like peddle out these stories. And I would pay them, and instead of hot pictures, I would send them these memes, and then people would argue in the comments or they would put it on their story and be like, what an idiot. And that would be how people would start blowing up my page.
And
Wow.
how much were you making before this meme blew up?
Before No Jumper, I was making about $50K a week. And that was
A week?
Yeah. So
Oh
I was
my
making
gosh.
about $200K months. For a while before I got No Jumper and before I started like really getting myself in the limelight. But with the advent of No Jumper, I realized like the power of podcasts, which is why I'm here today, because I just feel like that's the easiest way to make a meme, because Instagram and TikTok promotes reels and videos in the algorithm, and that's the easiest way to just cause discussion instead of photoshopping my face onto fun things and stuff like that.
What were you like in like high school and before?
In high school, I was pretty slutty. I think I was really awkward. I wanted to be a film student. You know what I mean?
Okay, sure.
I went to film school ultimately in college. Like, I actually went to community college and I wanted to be a screenwriter and stuff like that. I dropped out to do my marketing thing. But I was pretty awkward. I would say I always was pretty intense. You know, like I felt like in my marketing job and like in my film, like my mini film career, I was like just a very obsessive, intense person, and I just wanted to kind of conquer things.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't think I've conquered OnlyFans just yet. I feel like people like Amarath have totally like done huge things of that space, but I've been like navigating like just how to take over the internet in different ways, like with YouTube and stuff like that. So I just made my YouTube.
Interesting.
And let's talk a little bit more about this marketing executive position. What exactly was it? And do you think that your experience being a marketing executive translated to, I don't know, better funnels into your OnlyFans?
So it's honestly hilarious when I like recounted, because that was what my title was, but I'm pretty sure what I was in was actually an MLM. Because every morning they would put us in this space called Atmo, which was short for atmosphere, and they would just kind of like have a bunch of speeches every morning, like Tony Robbins and we would internalize that for an hour. It's bizarre to explain.
It sounds like an MLM. So
yeah, no, it was definitely MLM behavior.
Well, explain the business structure there. How does it work?
It wasn't necessarily an MLM where I had to recruit people to continue the business, but it was something similar. Like I had to build a team, and it had the promise of like, you know, becoming a six-figure CEO and having your own office. It was definitely an MLM, you know. But okay. I will say, in like my own twist, I felt like it was really good for me to just kind of, I was very impressionable at the time, and being in kind of like a positive headspace about success and working hard and like pulling myself by the bootstraps was really good for me to internalize at a young age, because I felt like it just helped me not get embarrassed first and foremost, because it was quite embarrassing. They would have me go door to door. They would have me go to B2B and stuff. And those things helped me just kind of learn how to like, you know, just make sure that like I at the time lived in South Central, you know, and it was at the time like if I was not able to like hit my goal, my situation is still shitty when I come home. So I felt like it helped me internalize like I have to do this myself.
Yeah. Where are your parents from?
My parents are from the Philippines.
And when did they come to America?
I'm raised in LA, so they've been here like for like 25 plus years.
Got it. And why were you trying to hide it from them?
They would commit seppuku if they found out what I did. I also just feel like in general, a social media career is not something that my parents would respect anyways. But when I was 19, my parents kicked me out. So we just have general beef.
Why did they kick you out?
I had a curfew at 10 p.m. I got home at 10:30, and they just gave me a bunch of trash bags, and they were like, you just gotta go. No. I didn't have a phone until I turned 18, and I didn't go outside for reasons beyond schoolwork until I turned 17. So I had a really sheltered upbringing, but I was on the internet a lot, and I feel like that's why I'm able to navigate the world pretty well right now with like memes and community building in that aspect.
Why do you think they were so strict?
Asian parents are pretty strict in general. I don't want to lean into stereotypes, but a lot of me and my friends had just had similar situations like that. My parents are first generation immigrants. They came from the Philippines. I'm the oldest daughter, so and I also am just a little crazy. So I feel like they just were like, you just cannot go outside. When I was in the 8th grade, I held a boy's hand in front of the Claire's at the mall, and they transferred me to a different school district in a different city. And they told me I couldn't have any social media, and I had a tracking device on my phone. It was just very intense all the time.
And how did they find out you're holding a guy's hand?
I was about to ask that.
My friends.
Oh, they just word of mouth, just somehow.
Yeah, I guess they like asked my friend's mom like where they were. They found where we were, and then that was it.
Wow. So I have this theory where if you have helicopter parents that like watch your every move and they're extremely strict on you, it creates a rebellious nature in you that's kind of hard to shake, and as you get older you just tend to like to rebel and go against your parents' words. And then the same goes for like the inverse, where if they give you like way too much freedom, that it's also a little bit dangerous. I think somewhere in the middle is probably the best way of parenting. Did you find that to be true in your own personal life?
I feel like it's hard to say, because I'm obviously like very outwardly, like I have done a bunch of like pretty crazy and depraved sexual acts in my outside life, you know, but I also feel like I don't know how much of that is because my parents were just really strict. They weren't that strict to my brother, and he is also a normal person. So I guess that's like kind of proof that like I guess it must have affected me in some way. But I find myself like I was lucky enough to like explore those sexual moments in my life in very safe and protected spaces, which is why I feel like I have a good understanding of who I am right now.
But first, we want to thank today's sponsors, StreamYard.
If you want to get into podcasting like us, you don't have to build an expensive setup. And StreamYard is the best way to produce high-quality content directly from your browser. StreamYard is a live streaming studio platform perfect for people looking to get into content creation without having to worry about all the editing, setup, and post-production that comes with it.
You can stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and tons of other platforms. They also make it easy to brand and customize your videos before you even go live.
You can also multi-stream social media platforms to be able to maximize your reach across the entire internet. Whether you want to start live streaming or just easily record new content, StreamYard makes it simple to get professional and high-quality content every single time.
So do not waste countless hours on production, setup, and editing, and get started for free today with the link down below in the description.
Again, the link is down below in the description. And now with that said,
Let's get back to the podcast.
to
So getting home at 10:30 and then you got kicked out of your parents' house. Was it like that night? Were they up waiting for you?
Yeah, my dad was up waiting for me. What happened then was I stayed with my ex for a time, and then it just got really bad, and then he kicked me out. And eventually I was couch surfing and unhoused for a little bit, and then I came back to my parents when I figured out it's really hard to just not have a place to stay in Los Angeles, especially as a girl. I didn't know how to. My parents didn't let me learn how to drive or take the bus or get a job until like way older. So I just didn't really have the social skills. So I felt like they kept me really dependent on them. And then I had another ex-boyfriend, and he kind of did the same thing where he kicked me out once we broke up as well. And I felt like those moments in my life, paired with me joining this like MLM, was my training grounds for learning how to become extremely financially independent, because in my mind I was just like, I don't want to need someone. I want someone. I don't want to need my dad or need a boyfriend or need anyone in my life to make sure that my situation is like livable. I need to make sure my own situation is good. And I feel like that kind of combination is how I've been able to kind of be successful now.
Yeah.
Do you have any direct stories or moments in time where things got extremely challenging? Maybe like you just got kicked out of someone's house and it's like 11 p.m. and you don't know where you're staying that next night?
So I had another ex-boyfriend, and he cheated on me as well. And he told me I had to leave by Saturday. And I was like, okay. So
And what day was it?
It was Thursday. So I had $300 in savings, and I reached out to this friend, and she was in charge of this like queer co-op. It was like a co-op full of like all trans and queer people. It was like an old frat house that like 30 people would live in there. Like 10 people would live in the living room for $10 a night just to like sleep on the floor. And if you wanted a room, it would be $300 a month. So I was able to stay there for a little bit until, people just kicked us out because you're not supposed to do that. And I was able to save up for my place in South Central, which is when I had that marketing job. And on New Year's Eve 2019, someone broke into my house and destroyed everything. I don't know what the universe issue with me was at the time, because I was just like, I can't catch a fucking break. This is crazy. So I moved back into my parents' house again. And it was just hard because my parents, just always had issues with what I did. Like when I dropped out, when I was in college for film school, they had an issue. When I dropped out of it to do this MLM, they had an issue, obviously. And so like me losing my house again for the second or third time was just kind of their like signification. Like, look, you are meant to fail. Like there is nothing that says that you are going to be a great person. You make the wrong choices and you can't think for yourself. And whenever I was home, it was just a very painful experience for me.
Kazumi, can I ask you how your relationship with your parents currently is? Because I'm sure that growing up strict Asian parents, like you were saying, they were getting mad at you for everything. I want to know how they felt, one, when they found out you had an OnlyFans.
Oh, they don't know I have an OnlyFans.
Oh.
How do they not know?
No, they have to know. They
don't know.
Where do they think all the money's coming from?
I literally just talk about cryptocurrency till they tell me to shut the fuck up. They're just like, but we don't really talk like that. And
they must know.
Yeah, they have to know.
They probably are acting blind to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
No, my dad would beat my if you knew what it was. It's kind of funny because I talk about it openly on podcasts.
Yeah.
And it's also like I also have a billboard on Sunset Boulevard with my face on it.
You do?
I do.
What?
That was
Where on Sunset Boulevard?
It was on Sunset and Highland. It's like the main street. I had
How
a billboard.
much was that? Let me guess. I'm gonna get. Can I guess?
30K.
No.
I had a discount.
Oh yeah. But how many months did you buy?
1 month.
1
And-
month. How far in advance did you book it?
Like 2 weeks before.
2 weeks before. That means they didn't book it. So, my guess is.
It was during Halloween. It was October. It just got taken down.
I'm gonna say the market value of that, like you said, Jack, is probably 30. I'm gonna guess they gave it to you for 20.
It was originally like 17. I got them down to 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you negotiate?
deal.
It's just a simple.
They had a few OnlyFans girls use the same location before, so I think they kind of were like, "This is just great viral advertisement every time I do this."
Does that work?
So I did not write on my billboard, "Hey, this is Kazumi's OnlyFans." What I wrote was, "Kazumi, please notice me. P.S. You have the best OnlyFans in the world." So
Oh my god.
Oh, that's
So-
genius.
Genius.
I was just
Wow.
like, I made a YouTube video and I was like, "Whoa, who did that?" I don't know who did
That's
that.
smart.
So people kept posting it and we're like, oh my God, these simps are out of control. Like, I can't believe that a
No
guy would put that
way.
there for her. And it was a good discussion piece.
That is genius.
You know?
what? If you ever decide to step away from OnlyFans, you have a career in marketing.
Oh, thank you.
I swear, that is such a great. Like I was trying
That's
to
like
think
a Netflix-esque
that is
sort of marketing.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. The YouTube
How did
video.
you think of that?
I just kind of was like, it's really funny the relationship people have with porn and sex and women. If I say, "Hey guys, I have a sex tape with like my boyfriend in the car," everyone's like, "Cool, that's not new." But then if I have an account that says, "Hey, I'm Kazumi's ex-boyfriend, fuck this bitch. Here's her leaked sex tape of us fucking in the car." Everyone buys it but it's crazy because they don't want it to come from me. They want it to come
Oh
from a
my
fellow jerk face, or they want to make it. They want to feel like women are just kind of like these little NPCs that like react and just like we don't have our own body autonomy. So I've been able, which is why I have my simps make the memes, because if I make the memes, everyone knows it's me and
No.
they're like, shut up. Whereas if my friends make the memes and they're like, I feel like that's just a better story. It's a
Here's the
better
thing,
discussion.
You're calling them simps. Do they like
I love
that?
Yes, they're my
They
simp
do?
army.
That's
yeah.
not demeaning.
Like,
I don't think it's demeaning. I love my simps, but I thought that was just a modern name for fans, right? Like that's
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
think
I mean,
so.
if
they're
I mean,
okay
if
with
somebody
it.
called me their simp, I'd be like,
I'd be
excuse you.
pulling my credit card info off there and just
I
like.
simp for everybody. I mean, I
Yeah.
simp for Jack. You know what I mean? I'm a Jack simp. So I'm doing this pro bono. I don't have a modeling team or agency, which
Yeah.
sometimes is cool because I take all the money, but sometimes it sucks because I lose all the money too. Like last year, my accountant was like, "Hey, so you allegedly said you spent $860,000 on marketing last year. Like what?" And I kind of was like, "What? I don't think I did that." And she was like, "You did." And I looked through and I did. IRS, I did. But it was also like, there's a lot of things that flop, you know, like for every like cool billboard that everyone sees and like has like a whole ruckus about, there's been a million times I've flown an airplane over a place that was too dusty, or I've like flown like a billboard, or I've driven like a billboard truck that like no one saw. So it's just kind of been a crapshoot of just figuring it out myself, like what has been a loss and what has been a W for me.
Wow. How do
Yeah.
you think of these ideas? Like, what's the
just-
thought process?
I just think about what causes discussion, you know, and what is going to be worth the money. I understand what my strengths are. I'm in a saturated market where everyone is a hot girl, and I just have to think about what would make me different. And I kind of was like, truthfully, what makes me the most money is doing podcasts and YouTube skits, because that's like me broadening my audience and creating like I'm joining the multiverse when I do podcasts and like skits with other people.
How much would this podcast make you? I'm just curious.
It's going to depend. I mean, obviously, I lean into having a great like conversation that fits your market.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm going to get like little bits of this and like repopulate TikTok. You'll see it. You'll
Okay.
see it on YouTube Shorts and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah.
But can you put a dollar amount on that? I'm just curious, just for my own.
It's really funny because one time I tweeted out this thing on my Twitter and I was like, hey guys, where did you guys find me? And the answers are always so eclectic. Like they'll say like, oh, I found you from this podcast or I found you from this magazine. And at the time, I may have not necessarily thought those things went viral, but at like years later and months later, those things compound. So probably a lot, but like over the course of like my OnlyFans career, as long as this YouTube video goes up, I'm going to make money off of it for a long time.
Wow. Are there any ideas that you've not done?
There's things I want to do.
Can you share anything, or maybe something that was like too much, like too far? Anything you shot down? We want a hint.
Let me see. There's been things that I've like considered, but it's just like they're things that I can do, but they are just things that I have to do in the future. Like at some point, I would like to get an I would like to make an agency, you know, or at some point I would want to make an award show. Or I'd want to make something that makes me like positions me in like a leadership position where everyone is like, okay, Kazumi's that guy for this section. Yeah, I've been navigating my YouTube, and it's been a hard game just trying to find out what my voice is, if I just want to like do skits or if I want to do stuff. I've been interacting with my simps or fans, you know, a lot. I just paid a simps rent. How
did that work?
I've paid my simps rent quite a few times. The first time was I was at No Jumper Live and I paid for a No Jumper fans rent. This time I kind of was like, you know, you guys just pay my bills. At the end of the day, I love men and I love my fans and slash simps super well. So I had this, I filmed this YouTube thing where I was like, look, if you want me to pay your rent, you know, submit and I'll consider it. And this guy was like, sure. He works at my local Whole Foods. I can never go to Whole Foods ever again. And he tattooed my name on his arm and it says, Kazumi loves you. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to pay your rent.
You're going to get a lot of tattoos now.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me backtrack. Kazumi, you can call me your simp. I'm okay with it now.
I'll pay your rent if you tattoo your name right now.
What would you do?
So, Kazumi, a lot of people that I talk to that are women, they're always like, I could make a killing on OnlyFans. You know, what do you say is like, if somebody actually wanted to start an OnlyFans and make a ton of money, what do you think are the top 3 things that they have to focus on?
I always, first of all, whenever a woman says that, I'm like, do it then. Do it then. And then I'll be like, no, I can't because this and that. And that's the whole point. No. Number one, you are going to deal with social stigma no matter what. I can keep this podcast as clean as possible, and I can tell people how I made $5 million and how I've done all these cool things. And for some people, I'm still just a slut and that's all I'm ever going to be. And that's just something that I'm going to have to deal with as I navigate the world and I apply to houses and, you know, cars and like that's just a thing that I'm going to deal with. So number one is you are going to deal with social stigma as long as the world has a problem of sex workers, you know, making money and just like that's going to be a thing, you know, and you have to be comfortable with the fact that, you know, at this point nowadays, I get into some pretty high level places and it's cool. And then they find out I have an OnlyFans and then it's like, oh, whatever, man, like you're just hot. Dude, everyone's hot. It has nothing to do with what you look like. So the first thing is like, look, you're going to deal with the social stigma no matter what. And you're going to have to live with that. And whatever repercussions that is with your family and your friends, you are going, even though in my mind, it's not a big of a deal. My parents don't even know. And I'm this big. The second thing is it is not about the resources you have. It's about how resourceful you are. With OnlyFans, you are able to find your own audience. You don't have to have sex. You don't have to be hot. All you have to do is create value in the marketplace, whatever the that is. That could be you talking about cryptocurrency like Marcus Two Braids, or that could be you shaking your ass like Ruby Rose, or it could be you actually making porn, but it doesn't matter. All you have to do is make people want to buy that.
Got it.
What are some of the non like sex work or porn people that do OnlyFans that do extremely well, like you just kind of mentioned? Do you know anyone else?
Amarath doesn't have porn on her OnlyFans, and she makes $1.5 million a month.
What is it? What is it? Bikinis or what is it?
I think she has an amazing Twitch presence. She also has done stuff like the billboards. She also has probably made more investments. Like I know she just bought a 7-Eleven. You know, so you know, people don't want to pay attention to what successful OnlyFans girls do, and they're just missing game. But I know that she is able to make a lot of money. I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that she doesn't do porn. And so like any inch of sensuality you see from her is very stimulating and exciting.
What do you think the ratio is between how personable you have to be, like the level of people that go after personality versus looks? Like, do you think it's maybe 90% how you look and 10% personality, or do you think it's flipped?
I think it's easy for people to think it's based on looks because they see these girls with huge Instagram followings and then they have an OnlyFans and then they're not but breaking their back. But I would say, so I started on Telegram, and a lot of those girls still don't have OnlyFans. I mean, still don't have social media. Or if they do, they don't show their face because they still are going through school, trying to become a nurse or whatever. And I would say a vast majority of these girls may not be the most conventionally attractive, but they're very smart. They know how to create a good hook. They know with their captions, they know how to create scarcity, with like whatever the fuck they're selling and make you want to buy it. So I would say like a big ratio of women, it's really about like their own like marketing strategies versus how you look. We see the loudest people, which are the people, like Jimmy Smacks and stuff who make these outrageous viral like moves on Instagram and then are also very attractive. But those aren't necessarily the people that make the most money. Because I've seen a lot of their numbers, and a lot of them don't make as much as me because they think the social media is all they need to leverage themselves, but they don't know how to explain why I should buy a bikini picture. Some girls are really good at that, and some girls, don't know how to make it seem like a personal experience.
Yeah. So what is your value prop in OnlyFans?
Like, I would say, number one, I think there's a lot of stuff you see about me on the internet that makes you feel like you know who I am on some sense, and I feel like I'm a relatable person, or at least admirable. I've been to places where I've like thrown condoms on the floor with my barcode, and sometimes guys will be like, "You'll be the first OnlyFans girl I subscribe to just because you got that good heart, you got some grit. You're different. I'll subscribe, even though I don't want to see your porn." It's a good way to show support.
How often though are you not in the mood? Like you maybe scheduled all this stuff out and you wake up that morning and it's just like, I just don't feel like doing it today.
I feel like I can get there. I can get there in the mindset. I may, and if not, I can, provide value in other ways. Like I have videos, I have a library and a collection that you could just, which makes residual income, even if I'm not actively horny. And the reason why I do all these podcasts and make all these memes is because I want money. I want to have a lifestyle based on money. On what I did. Not what I do. Because even though we did this podcast and you'll probably drop it in a month or two, this will pay me for the rest of my life as long as people watch this video.
Just get a cut, Jack.
That's wild.
We never worked.
I actually have a question based on you signing. You said you recently signed to like a bigger porn company,
yeah, I
right?
just signed to Vixen.
Okay, my question is, a lot of people online have looked at OnlyFans and seen it as like giving power back to the creator, because back in the day it was like known that like, you would get paid a salary as an actress and stuff like this, but now it seems like you're kind of going backwards. Like you've created your following online, but then you've decided to sign to a company. Do you think that kind of defeats the purpose of having an OnlyFans?
No, I think what I did was I signed up for probably the most HD commercial of my life. I knew that if Brazzers and Vixen were things I've been looking at for a long time. I wanted Vixen because I just wanted to feel sexy and cute, and also just because I felt like it would be a cool experience in my life to feel like a star, in like the mainstream world. And I felt like I knew that if I did this video, I would have to give it my all because it's going to be on the internet and a lot more people are going to see it in the official porn world. And so I just knew that if this was a successful commercial, this would be the best lead to my OnlyFans over and over again. There's a few people that have posted some stuff of me on Pornhub. And at first I was like, oh, why would you do that? And then I realized every time people would do that, I would get so many more subscribers because they'd be like, oh shit, like I didn't know you actually did that. Like I just thought you were another bikini model that did funny stuff on the internet. So I realized, okay, if that was a commercial, I can do an even better commercial. I feel like I'm just obsessed with excellence, specifically with my OnlyFans. I want it to be the perfect experience for men and for myself, because it feels good that people come there and then they're like, this is cool. Like, I thought you were a cool girl and then you didn't let me down with some weird shit.
What do you think about OnlyFans management teams and managers in general?
I have my opinions about it. I don't like them, but sometimes people need them, and I'm not going to say that you shouldn't. I personally feel like there's a lot of value in myself. There's a lot of value I've learned personally. Like, I know that even if I decided to stop OnlyFans right now, I know how to make $5 million in 2.5 years. And I know I can go into a company and bring that value, you know? The other thing as well is I feel like everything I know, I can teach someone to do. And if I don't like them anymore, I can fire them. However, when you sign on to an OnlyFans management team and agency, a lot of these girls have never done stuff like this before and they don't know how to make this money. And let's say they don't like this team anymore and they, relinquish the contract and they don't know how to make $50K a week anymore. It sucks. Like I feel... in my perfect world, everyone who does OnlyFans just does it because they want to do it, and everything I make is because I want to do it. And obviously it's because it makes me a lot of money, but also because it brings me joy and is a great form of self-expression. And I feel like when you go into these management teams and you give them a percentage and they tell you have to do this, and then like they're weird sometimes, but you can't let them go because you're in this like tight contract. I feel like, I don't know. I just have like weird opinions about that because I just want people to do it because they want to.
So part of the value is just the learning basically that
Yeah.
you get building up your own OnlyFans. For a fact you could go to a different company and your marketing stuff will translate to that company and you'll be able to make this amount of money regardless of what happens to OnlyFans.
Yeah, I
Whereas
feel-
someone else that just takes all of the advice from a management team is left with nothing if that management team
Yeah,
leaves.
because the problems I've heard is like my friends will join a team and then they suck because a lot of them do suck. A lot of them have no proven concept of being great or growing a girl because a lot of it is their own personal brand, which, and you don't want those awkward conversations where they tell you have to do something you don't want to do. I find it virtual pimping, but I don't want to discount the girls who do have a good time because let's say you just wanted residual income. I mean, who cares? Like, I don't, for me, this is like my life. That's my child. I have a personal connection to it. But I just feel like I had a friend, she didn't like her company anymore. And they were like, okay, well, if you look at the fine print, it now says that you will still have to pay us 10% for 2 years. Like it's just like bullshit. Yeah. Like, and it's like, I still, as casual as I am about sex and and as freely as I like to give it, it's still within the fact that I have control over that. And I wouldn't want people to lose control of it. Not necessarily because people always have sex on OnlyFans, but it's still like me, I'm selling my assets, not myself, but I feel like that's still me a little bit.
Let's talk about some of your assets because I know
Yeah.
you've invested into your body a little bit.
My boobs.
Can you talk maybe a little bit about like
Yeah.
all
Where did
the
you start?
body modification
Yeah,
stuff?
how did you start doing
I always wanted boobs. It was the biggest insecurity of my life. I always looked at women and I always was like, girls with big boobs. Maybe I'm bisexual, but I would just look at them and be like, they look so feminine. I just wanted these like large boobs. I felt like I would feel more at home with myself if I had boobs. And people will say it's for men and whatever, but every guy I've ever been with was always like, you don't need bigger boobs. And every time I've ever gotten a surgery, people have always said, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that. But ultimately, it was how I wanted to present myself in this world and how I wanted to feel. And so I got my boobs. That was kind of the first time I made a lot of money on OnlyFans. So at the time, my sugar daddies, like, they were just like, we could pay for your boobs, but, you'll pay it back. And I just didn't want to be an indentured slave over some titties, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, let me focus on my OnlyFans and see if I can hit 25K. And I posted it on my Instagram of 1,000 followers on my personal, because I didn't have like an actual and I was just had it on my close friends, and I was like, guys, I think I'm going to make 25K this month because I want some boobs. And lo and behold, I did it. And then I was
that
like,
wasn't your first month though.
that wasn't my first month. No,
Right.
no.
How much were you making in the months coming up to that?
Like 1K, 2K.
And then you just jumped from 1K to 2K
The
to
20
25.
It was 16, then 25, then
Wow.
50. But that growth happened because I was on Telegram, like asking, like, I'm not shy to be a student, you know? I didn't know how to be hot on the internet. You know, like for some girls, it's easy, but I paid for courses that were like, hey, how do you sext? Or, hey, how do you take a nude? Or like, hey, how like should you caption this video? Because I thought I had awesome videos, but really it's just about the caption. Like, how are you able to create value or scarcity in this marketplace? And when I started paying for those coaching courses and then that mentorship, that's when I started making a lot of money. And it always shocks people because they think you should just know that. But it's like, I mean, if you pay for real estate classes, you pay for cryptocurrency, you could pay for OnlyFans knowledge. At the time, I gained a lot of weight during COVID because I would be on my OnlyFans from 16 to 18 hours a day. People at the time weren't doing collabs or like doing TikTok really or anything like that. And I just gained a lot of weight and I didn't feel good about it. And at the time I had weird opinions about working out because I was just online and I would have like insane hours because I would do all-nighters because that was the best time to sex with guys. So I bought a BBL and that was...
Can we talk? What is that?
My Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And it jump-started my my love for fitness because I was like, that shit hurts so bad. I do not want to get a BBL again. So I started working out and now I live in my workout clothes and I feel a lot more in control of my body. I've also gotten a chin implant.
Really?
I don't know if you guys, could you tell? Is my face different?
No. Wait, since when?
Like
Since
a
the
month
last
ago.
time? Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah.
What does that do?
So I don't know, you can kind of see. I got a chin implant, buccal fat removal, and
What's
a neck
buccal?
lift. Well, the buckle fat is like within here.
Lift.
You couldn't tell my face is different?
No.
No.
Well, I wasn't.
But-
I wasn't really like studying you to be honest before.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what? But those are the things you don't want people to notice because then
Yeah.
you want it to be subtle enough. Like I'm always
Yeah.
a fan of like if you don't notice, that means it's done correctly.
Yeah.
I feel like I look
Notices.
very refined now in my humble opinion. But it ultimately wasn't really a work decision. I mean, at the time I didn't have a social media until after my BBL. It was more so like I just wanted to feel good in my body. And I remember like my partner was like, you don't need a BBL. Like you need to just work out. And I was like, with like the way my body naturally was, like fuck you, like no. So it would have been a hard journey to possibly not ever have the framework that would carry like this type of weight gain, you know, or like the way like my weight is like this, like, you know, sitting on my body. Now that I work out a lot, I'm able to have a lot more control over the way I look. Like I could slim down or I could get thicker, but that's a lot of because where my weight is now placed, like, you know, my fat cells are in my butt now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. And now you mentioned something about abs.
Yeah, I did buy my abs for $2K. If I do not work out, I will look really weird.
What? Okay, so how do abs?
Yeah. What does
work?
that mean?
What do you mean? I bought abs. I bought ab etching along with my BBL.
What? So what do they do exactly? How does that work?
I'm not exactly sure what the procedure was, but it was just part of the things that they could do when you get a BBL. I never had abs, so I wanted them. But I will say that like in like the weight times that my weight fluctuates and then I eat out and I don't work out, I will still have abs, but it will look quite unnatural. So I have to make sure that I work out and like eat right. So I feel like it's kind of like now a catch-22 of now you are going to stay healthy.
So okay, so my understanding is if the abs are in front of the fat.
Let me explain ab etching real quick, guys.
Do you have
So-
ab
This is our
etching?
dog.
Alex?
No, I researched it because when I asked Liver King, I researched what.
Did he
ab
get
etching-
abs?
He said he did not.
Oh,
but,
shut up.
Let me explain what it is. So, ab etching, instead of ab implants where they put in something to pop out the abs, ab etching, they're specifically sucking out the fat, like in the shape of like where the dents of the abs are, so that you have a more defined ab. So you don't have any fat in between. So you basically shape your natural abs.
That was only 2K.
It was only 2K.
Wait, but so
Jack,
why?
why you ask?
Wait. But then if you put on weight, that just goes back to the places where you just took it out from. Why not just get
No, because the way that fat cells work, it's like they're taking out the fat cell. Like it'll grow around it. Kazumi, is that what it looks like? Probably. So like
I
when
could try to find pictures of like when I gain weight, like my abs just look strange. So, but I feel like it gave me like a new foundation Like what surgery does is it gives you a new foundation. And with your new foundation, the rest of your journey is how well you actually maintain that. Because a lot of girls, who will not tell you have BBLs. Their BBLs just suck, or they just lost the fat in some way. You have to maintain it, or else it will look weird.
And how much do you think you've spent in total on your body?
I've probably spent around $100K or so.
100K.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, well, no, probably
How much
not.
did each cost? About?
Okay, no, I just can't fucking do math. Boobs, 8K.
Okay.
Lipo 360 and BBL, 14K. Abs, 2K. Arm lipo, 2K. Face was expensive, like 25K. So probably a little
50.
less than 100. I'm not counting like post-op recovery and stuff. Like obviously when I got my BBL, I wore my faja and I didn't sit for a long time and stuff like that. And I went and I stayed in a recovery home.
Wait, how does that work? You're not supposed to sit?
Well, no. Last time she was here, she had this little bench thing that.
Remember,
she would
I
put in
didn't
the chair.
sit the whole
And
podcast.
her butt was hanging.
Yeah.
It was like she was sitting on her thighs, right?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that's why I was
Yeah.
like this the whole time.
Wow.
I was like way tall. Like I was sitting on my giant cushion.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
But I mean, the ROI, like, I don't think I am successful because I got surgery, but I will say it helped. It helped not only because I feel like I'm number one, more conventionally attractive, but I also just felt a lot more confident. Like I would take more opportunities.
I think it's the confidence.
Yeah.
I think you could have done the same regardless, but now that you have the confidence, you feel more confident just pushing through that.
Especially putting myself out there on social media, like getting on things like No Jumper and getting on like skits and stuff where people are like hypercritical about my appearance. I felt like before I would have just really lost a lot of sleep over the things people would say.
Part of me, like always in the back of my mind, maybe it's wrong, maybe it's completely wrong, but part of me also thinks like, man, I feel like porn could be damaging to the young mind of like a teenage boy or something like that, you know, or growing up and getting that instant gratification all of the time. And then I feel like inevitably, and to some capacity, you have to, as a young person that continually watches that regularly, objectify women in some way, or it's hard to avoid stuff like that.
What's the difference of porn? Like if like a person sees porn versus like if they see a violent movie, do you feel like if people aren't able to understand that this is entertainment, is that the movie's fault? Is that the fault of Transformers and Michael Bay, or is it the fault of the education you receive in your household about how you should feel about the things around you?
I think the problem, Jack, is just having an unrealistic expectation. Maybe that's it.
That's a
of
good
just
point.
like expecting
Yeah.
what you see online to be a representation of what's in
Because
the real world.
You
Maybe
understand
that's
it's not necessarily educational, and it's also like obviously anything in excess is bad. You know, if I eat a bunch of French fries every day and then I only eat French fries because I don't know how to cook anything but French fries, it's gonna be pretty shitty for me. I think when people say that porn is harmful, I think at the root of it, we need to start having better conversations about sex and our expectations on sex with people, even when they're younger, you know, about like what porn is and what sexuality is and what you're actually seeing and how it's not necessarily a reflection of the reality we live in. It is a fantasy that we're providing. But on top of that, with OnlyFans is so much more diverse in terms of like the content you're able to see. So it's not necessarily always porn, but even if it were to be porn, it's not necessarily like like a girl that looks like me with like perfect proportions fucking guy with like a 10-inch dick. It could just be like normal looking people doing normal things. And when we start normalizing it instead of seeing it as like this taboo thing we should all avoid, we start realizing that it's just an act that people do and not necessarily something that is like evil or deserves consequences for being enjoyed.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
One final thought that I hear a lot, right? Not necessarily that I believe this, but I hear that like porn can be damaging to the family unit because people are getting married at a lot older ages now and they're having children at less rate. Elon Musk tweeted that he thinks that like the collapse of the population is going to be one of the biggest threats to humanity in the coming years or whatever. Because people can avoid going out and trying to meet people in public, and their hormones that they have within them, right? Like for a dude, like their testosterone, like maybe it's depleted when you do your stuff.
I wouldn't trust any weird thing that comes out that guy's mouth, but I don't think that's necessarily porn's fault. I think what's happening is during COVID, people have really had a hard time learning how to communicate with each other and kind of go outside and take chances when they misunderstand one another. I feel like during COVID, everyone went online, and it's easy to say things and it's easy to experience life on the internet. And that's not necessarily a porn thing. That's just the thing that happened when everyone is forced to be inside. And now that we're all back outside, people have just kind of absorbed like these same type of social cues you learn on the internet, and now they're like bringing it to people in real life. And that's why I feel like people seem angrier to me, you know, and people seem a lot harder to compromise with or like kind of reach like a level ground with. And that's not necessarily a porn thing. That's more so an internet thing, you know, like I feel like we're just not learning how to become more social and learning how to communicate. I don't think there's a problem with people getting married later. I think as long as people are getting married because they want to get married and they're more stable and they're able to create like a loving present household, whenever you get married is totally fine. And if porn was something that were to become an issue in someone's relationship, that's not necessarily, it's not like a cigarette's fault you died. It's because it's like your choices for continually like chain smoking for 20 years.
This has been a long-standing trend though of people you know, getting married later and all that, not having kids. But I think it's a lot of the internet. It's easier to have that interaction online. It's so much simpler than going out and like think of how much effort it takes to like get ready, go out. You have to be, or you could just sit on the computer, do nothing, and just chat away with your friends. Another thing that I heard is that millennials are getting married later in part because they're moving out of their parents' home later because they're choosing to stay home and save, or it's too expensive to move out, so they stay at home. I think that's another big contributor. And the divorce rates when you get married after 25 drop substantially. The more education you have also drops. Yay! Because we all hear the statistic like 50% of divorces end in marriage. Marriages end in divorce. But that takes into account like third marriages, or like if you're married twice, your chances of divorce are significantly higher. And I think actually more recently it's about 65% stay married. So you're more likely to stay married. But then again, you could also argue, well, they haven't been together long enough to maybe get divorced. So like you have to go through the entire lifespan.
You have to wait till they die to
get the true statistic. Because what if they're married for 20 years and then they, divorced? Is that, at what age does that factor in?
I think
I don't know.
I think people are getting, also the thing with the internet is I feel like people are able to, when people find our little community, they're able to make more assumptions about the monsters that they don't understand. And I feel like that creates more division. And I feel like that destroys communication. I feel like, for example, like someone can assume something. If you say OnlyFans girl, people have a myriad of assumptions about that based on what community of the internet you're from. And from those assumptions, people will decide they don't want to give you the time of day or they don't. Whereas in real life, when you would actually just go outside to parties and meet people will tell you like, hey, I'm trans, or hey, I'm different than you. And people will just have to learn how to navigate the world with differences like that.
I like how what I see like a deep value of yours is just respect for people. And I think that's really good. I think a lot of people lack respect for people that, have opposing viewpoints that they have nowadays.
Yeah, I just feel like it's important to learn empathy first and foremost. And I'm coming from a place where I feel like I'm misunderstood often. And one part is because I put myself on the internet and, I dance and I talk about gangbangs. But at the same time, I don't feel like I need to intellectualize that, because I don't necessarily think doing all that sexy stuff means I'm less intelligent or like less deserving of respect. I feel like what speaks most importantly is what I'm able to contribute to the community and how I make other people feel. And if I make people feel good, what is the harm in that? If I make them feel good in a healthy way where they understand that the things that I create are entertainment and not necessarily a replacement for actual human connection.
What are you doing now with all this money that you're making? Where is it going?
You know what? I was telling someone like most of my money was in the S&P, and now every time I talk to my finance people, they're like, look, there's a lot going on. And I'm always like, I'm just gonna keep it there. Right. I obviously had a little bit in crypto, but not enough, but not a lot, because I just don't really understand the space enough. I will get into real estate next year. They had issues with my tax return this year, so I just couldn't get into it. But I want to get a bunch of multifamilies and start either like Airbnb-ing it or doing something with that. I want to like diversify my income into YouTube.
Okay.
And just get like other brand opportunities that aren't necessarily attached to me being like a sexual person. So I've been working on that. You know, I did the billboard, I did a YouTube video on that. So I'm going to see where that takes me. But mostly my money, if it's not spent on marketing and if it's not spent on like putting it back into the S&P, then it's me traveling and just living my life. I just came back from Berlin and I just feel like people are the best books, and it was just such a different space over there compared to here. So I just like want to continually understand people.
I like that.
What are some of the biggest problems you see facing society nowadays?
Ooh, good question.
This is so funny because I feel it's so funny because when I think about our last interview, I was like, dicks, pussy. Yeah. So we had like such different questions.
I know this is a 180. I'm like,
I know.
Who is this person?
Yeah, I was like, let's forget what I said there.
You know what we could charge money to see
through an OnlyFans paywall to see the original.
Yeah.
I was literally just thinking.
Were you
that.
Actually?
Yes, I was literally thinking that right as soon as you said that.
The problem is someone's gonna copy it.
Yeah, no, and also
and it's gonna get out.
Like the things, like if they clip out something and it makes it to YouTube, so I already combated that idea like immediately.
Okay.
You get a DMCA and then just keep fighting it, but it'll come out regardless.
It's gonna come out.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem. These are such like giant questions. I think the biggest problem nowadays. I want to put Andrew Tate through a hydraulic press, bro. I think he is my Hitler. I think he is like one of the worst things to come about in this world.
Why?
Because I think it's not that his views are new. It's the fact that he is able to influence so many impressionable people who are looking for people just like them to find a community. And then he gets you with this thing where it starts off with being with a self-fulfillment, which is something we should all do. But then he makes it something hateful, and it's not going to create a better world for us. It creates a more hateful, divisive world when we put people in boxes and we have expectations for each other and we pretend that this reality is an objective reality we all have to follow the same rules in, when that's not the case. Like, the world is so much bigger than this small niche community that you're talking to. But what you're doing is you're creating a more violent world. And when you desensitize people with jokes and with jokes like that, or just like, you know, these people already don't know how to articulate how they feel and their differences, and they already feel alone and angry. It's just all you do is create violence. You create a more violent world for people that you don't like. Because I've already started seeing like smaller people in the same vein as Andrew Tate start branching out and start spewing their own hateful things about Black people, about trans people, about this, about that. And what you're doing is you're making it okay to be hateful. And I feel like I'll get crucified for this, but I don't have a huge problem with like woke culture. I think as long as we are working towards just making this a more comfortable place for all of us to navigate in, let's fucking do it. It's not cancel culture. It's sometimes people say something insane and there should be consequences for that. You know, there should be opportunities that are lost because you should not be able to influence people that way. And I feel like as long as we keep enabling that type of behavior. And again, I'll get crucified for this because I did an e-date with Andrew Tate and I got the clout off that. And I also obviously make money, you know.
What was the e-date?
So I did an e-date with Aiden Ross. I didn't know who Andrew Tate was. I just was trying to win. But I just was trying to win. So I was saying things like, yes, you can impregnate me and we can create like a family. And
I think that was one of the clips that I saw.
I'm sorry you saw that. I didn't know who he was. Afterwards, all my friends were like, dude, what the fuck? That was the first time I ever heard of him. I'm not really in that circle of the world. But then he became like this huge deal. And even now, just talking about him, I hate it because I can recognize the game. What he's doing is causing discussion, which is what I do all the time. But I just feel like it's like, why is the discussion continually about rationalizing my humanity? You know, it's like, I don't want to play devil's advocate when you're playing with my life. And I feel like people don't think that way.
How do you think he's playing with your life? In what way?
He's playing with the lives of like women, you know? And I feel like what he does is he becomes this figurehead for guys who identify with that. But those guys are never going to become Andrew Tate, you know? But when those guys, some of them are going to become big in their own sense, and they're going to copy the same techniques like what I did, and they're just going to create a more hateful world, you know? When you start saying that women don't have thoughts or women should have their body counts on their heads, and you're speaking to the choir of people who already agree with you because they already don't want to try to understand women, then yeah, it does create violence, because when those people enter relationships, like, those people just won't be happy.
You're going to say, or you're implying that those guys are going to say, oh, you've been with too many people and we're going to cut this. Their worth is tied to that, is what you're saying?
What they're doing is, I feel like we are radicalizing young men because the algorithm, once you interact with some subject matter, you will be inundated with that propaganda.
Yes.
Memes are propaganda. That's something I've learned myself. Like, the more you, like these children are being radicalized, and it's going to create a worse world. Like, it's increasingly becoming more difficult to call out people when they say something insane, right? Like Kanye West saying something about George Floyd overdosing on fentanyl, or saying something about Jews, that should not be a thing you should be comfortable saying. Yeah. So why is that even a controversial take? You know, like, I'm going to say that right now. It's going to get clipped. People are going to fight in the comments. But why are we even at this point in society where people even want to rationalize that? We need better heroes. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I said Andrew Tate, but what I mean to say is that, like, we are one of the biggest problems in the world right now is the fact that we are radicalizing people into really extreme positions, like into really extreme ideologies. That's just one example.
Well, I think that's social media in general.
Yeah.
So you have to be an extreme, one side or the other. The middle gets no attention. So you have to be like, you have to take extreme views, because that's what gets the engagement, which gets pushed.
And that's kind of the issue. And it's kind of a thing that's a catch-22. Again, I'm a hypocrite, you know, because I obviously lean into being extreme and talking about extreme stuff, because what gets views, you know? Like, sometimes if I just talk about my normal life, then it doesn't get views and it feels like a waste of time. But those choices are very brave, you know, because sometimes you don't want to say those things because I don't want to say this, and then I'll lose my social media because
the difficult part is I feel like there's not a lot of self-help out there for young men. There's really not.
That's genuine. That's just not built on hate, you know? Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of young guys out there who are just, if they're spending a lot of time online, they don't get that practice socializing, and it takes you, like, going out all the time and meeting friends and putting yourself out there. And it's really, really, really difficult. And there's not that sort of guide out there really to show people, I think, in a way that's maybe productive, or really is more like a step-by-step tutorial of, like, hey, you gotta go and introduce yourself to 5 people today and shake hands and follow up with 20 people, hang out with someone tonight. It's like all that sort of stuff you have to kind of learn on your own.
Yeah, that's why I liked Europe when I went last week, because it was just a very much more in-person society. And because it was a more in-person society, I found it more of I wasn't specifically in Berlin. I found it much more of a tolerant society, because I felt like you just meet people and then you realize that they're different. And then if you care about someone and they say something that is hurtful, you say, hey, I don't think you should say that. And I'm saying that because I care about you, not because I have a moral compass and I'm white knighting or I'm trying to virtue signal because it makes me feel good. I'm saying because I want to keep you in my life and you make me uncomfortable when you say shit like that. And I feel like that's a sentence that so many people just can't say. I feel like it's terribly difficult for them to say that. And if I am wrong about something, I'm comfortable saying, like, okay, I should not have said that. there's consequences of things I've said on No Jumper that I will live with, you know, but I understand the consequences of my actions when I say those things and how it impacts people.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot at the end of the day of building someone's self-esteem and finding their place and passion in the world. And I think it's going through that self-discovery. It's probably from the age of like 15 to, I would say 30 for a lot of people. It's like those ages, I think, are so just like formative.
Yeah.
And you have to want to change yourself and try to want to improve. And I think a lot of people either want a shortcut or they just have no interest.
I think what happens is you're in a community, and number one, it's hard to tell your friends like, hey, shit's not funny, because you don't want people to make fun of you, but you don't want to be ousted from this community. You know, when you enter like, a certain part of the internet, whether it's on Reddit or Twitter, and you say something that people disagree with, sometimes you have to leave that community. And for a lot of people who aren't socially adjusted, that's like the worst thing that could ever happen to them. And so they will just kind of like laugh along or start internalizing the propaganda they're seeing and say, yeah, women don't have thoughts. And at first it starts with a joke, and then they start kind of being like, no, like, I mean, everyone kind of agrees with me, right? And then sometimes they say something and someone says, you shouldn't say that. And they say, fuck you, bitch. Like, I'm able to say it because I'm this person and I have a blue check. And I feel like it's just a catch-22 of like just a very toxic ideology. That's one of the things that's wrong in this world right now. That's the most long-winded answer
I'm curious
ever.
if is there a female version of this?
I'm sure there is. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I would say what people argue is what you say earlier, is that they believe that from the outside looking in, people will say that porn can be a toxic thing. But again, I believe that's just your own relationship with sex, because I feel like a lot of people watch porn and they have healthy relationships with people outside in the world. I don't think that's a necessary deterrent for having communication. I think if you're terminally online and you don't communicate with people outside of people just like you, then you will have problems no matter what. I feel like I'm sure there are like toxic female things. I feel like with women, a lot of the toxic things that are part of like certain communities exist in retaliation to the way they feel about men.
Probably.
You know
what that reminds me? On Reddit, there's the thing. What was it? The red pill.
Mm-hmm.
The opposite of that I heard on Reddit, and I read some of this. It's wild. It's called female dating strategies.
Oh, wait, I've seen that, and some of that stuff is so funny.
My gosh,
What
we
is a
should
female
pull up.
dating
We should just pull
strategy?
up like one of the top threads and see what they say.
Okay, some of their stuff is so funny. Okay, actually, I lied. I definitely have some female friends who I feel like, again, have like, I think the problem is just having like weird expectations about the other sex for whatever reason, like feeling like you owe me money or like whatever because I have pussy and whatever, and then weaponizing sex to kind of make sure that you do my life. I don't know, but I just feel like just grow out of it. Like,
I think
get your own money.
Like one thing that's being propagandized, if that's a word, on the other side, to maybe not a similar degree, but just in general, is like the hate all men type thing, which I've heard a lot. And in fact, I actually went on a Tinder date with someone
who
and she
hated
said
all
she
men,
subscribed to the hate all men ideology.
Oh,
which didn't really make sense to me personally because she was on a date with me.
Yeah.
But it didn't necessarily make me feel very secure nor confident in the.
Was she like joking
date.
or
No.
was she?
No.
I think when women say that, I like to think what they mean is they don't like the systemic things that patriarchy has created over the history of time that have made living and navigating this world as a woman difficult. Or maybe she means the actual male race. I don't know.
I think that they're probably combining the two.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like because of this, you should think this. You know.
Yeah. I think it's. See, the thing is, in terms of like men, incels and femcells, I guess I kind of see like where this pain comes from, but it's just like it's so misguided. What really is going to help us is focusing on, first of all, our individualized relationships with each other, and not like basing like the choices we make based off memes and shit we see on the internet, and actually just getting to know someone, whatever the hell their astrology sign or whatever the hell their credit score is. Yeah.
I think it's just the extremism on both sides. It's really hard to think for yourself because it's a lot easier just to be told what to think.
Yeah.
Especially from people that are put in positions of power, right? Where if they have that blue check, you're like, oh, I should believe them. Or some sports celebrity says something and you're like, I should believe them because they're successful in their given niche.
Yeah. I was telling someone, I feel like it's because I'm not religious, but I feel like because people just generally aren't more like people defend Kanye West like he's like Jesus or something. Like it's insane to me. I feel like because people aren't necessarily like religion worked for a long time, and I guess it still does work because there was again the sense of community where people felt like they had like a common objective, which was to go to heaven or whatever. And now it's like I just feel personally connected to Tory Lanez no matter what he says or does, you know. And I feel like because of this like intense celebrity culture where we're seeing all this news and these people can pay each other off to like post like whatever propaganda they want, like a lot of impressionable people are able to just choose sides and like really stand their ground and loyalty with about these people they don't even know.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything on them that was interesting.
Yeah,
on female dating strategy. It would take me too much time.
What is the female dating strategy?
I think it's the women's version. I could be totally off here. The women's version of the red pill, where I think it's. I hate making up an explanation here, but that's probably all I'll leave it at. Without doing my research.
Yeah, I was like, you were like, I think it's bad.
No, I remember reading something back then of like, yeah, you want to do this, and don't tell him this, and you better not call him back at this time. It's like the pickup version for women.
Oh, I see.
I think.
I always tell people like nowadays, when you are an adult woman, and I'm 25, and it's like I talk to people. The type of person I like is someone who, number one, has a healed perspective on women and isn't ashamed about sex and doesn't believe sex should have enjoying sex should have consequences, which I feel like a lot of people feel like you like sex, that's really bad. Like you should only be with someone like you really, really like. But these like pickup artists, both for men and women, I mean, they probably existed before the internet when people struggled to like find a date and stuff. But it's like, as an adult woman, I decide if I want to get to know a guy, like just talking to him. And any type of strategy, like it is just coercion after a point, because either I decided I wanted to spend time with you or I didn't. If you keep kind of badgering me with like whatever you think is like a clever line or whatever, I mean, just most times it just doesn't work because I already decided I'm not attracted to you in some sense or form. The best thing you can do is just focus on making sure you're your best self.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I think a lot of it is learning how to showcase who you are as a person.
And then you attract what you are.
Yeah, but I think most guys out there have no idea how to do that in terms of like effectively communicating who they are, what they stand for. And building up that confidence, and that's where I think I don't think it's a line or anything.
I totally disagree with the idea of like, oh, you got to think of a super clever response and wait 3 hours to respond.
I've
always
games.
hated it because it's just like, just be who you are. And if
how's that working for you, Jack?
Fantastic.
It's great.
Okay, fantastic. Maybe not the greatest, but I'm not really
the
putting
lines
myself out there. Okay,
Jack's conversation is going great though. In the beginning, though,
thanks. I've gotten more confident, and I think confidence is a huge part of being able to be attractive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like you just attract what you are. Like when I was a very insecure girl coming out of my dad's house, I attracted people who were just as insecure and sick and twisted, you know? And now that I just know myself, the people I talk to are just as confident and just as attractive. And as long as you are presenting your best self, you're going to attract people who are attracted to that, which is what they are. And there's no game to play, really.
Can you say one thing that you like or a good thing about Andrew Tate?
I like I respect his strategy. His strategy with the hustle thing was cool, which is why I did it with my simps or /fans. You know what I mean? Like anyone who can get to any type of, who can get such a huge audience is not an idiot. You know, like I'm not an idiot, you know, like no matter what I don't have to agree with anything he says to not recognize that whatever he is a very smart guy, and he knows how to do a lot of things, which a lot of people don't do, which is how to influence. And that's what he's doing. He's learning how to influence people. Like even right now, unwarranted, I'm talking about him, because I have a strong opinion about that. And if people talk about me, then that means that I have influence. But most of all, I just respected his affiliate link strategy thing. I found that a very smart thing.
And what do you think are some pillars of a successful relationship? What does a relationship need in order to...
Like a romantic relationship?
Yes.
Shared values. I feel like ultimately if I believe something about, and I'm not just saying like you like pineapple pizza, I don't like pineapple pizza, but I'm saying certain things like, okay, like if I wanted to get an abortion, are we able to do that? Or is that something you just couldn't do? Or like, what are your thoughts financially about like, if I need to move across this country, are we going to move? Shared values is the biggest thing. And shared interests too. I want to be able to talk to someone who like just likes the same things I do, or at least is open to it, And I think another thing too is just like, you just gotta want to, you have to like me. And I think a lot of the times,
It's like chemistry.
I think a lot of times people forget that crucial thing in relationships is, I feel like sometimes people want to establish a power dynamic. Like they're like, because that's how they were when they were kids and their parents had a power dynamic. But I don't want to control you and I don't want you to control me. Ultimately, we are together because you like me and I like you and I want to spend time with you and I want to grow with you in some capacity. Maybe not forever, but I like you. And that goes for even like friends. I don't establish certain rigid expectations on my best friend. Why would I do it with my boyfriend? I'm in an open relationship, but even if I was in a monogamous relationship, is my person able to navigate the world comfortable knowing that I won't get mad over everything? Like, is he happy to be with me because I'm happy to be with him? I don't, all relationships, you give each other stuff, not necessarily because it's based on transactional things, but like, I want to feel happy when I'm with you, and I feel you just have to like someone. You don't have to come into a relationship thinking like, I need you to do this. And you can't go outside with your friends at 10 p.m. on a friend's birthday because that's what sluts do. Like I want to know that I'm able to be my own person.
Yeah, I would actually agree with that. I think the three that I always end up saying are like shared values, shared interests, and just general chemistry, which is
general chemistry. Like. And it's just like learning how to be independent. I want to want you. I don't want to need you. I don't want my lifestyle to be big, which is why I always preach to women, you need to be financially independent. It's not cute. It's not cute to depend on a guy because you don't want to demean yourself because this guy pays rent. Like I want to be able to be in a relationship because I want to. And if we're not happy, then I can just leave. I don't have to consider like, oh my God, my car is under your name. Like you'll take my car if you don't like me anymore.
I think trust is another big one.
Trust, huge.
Yeah. Are you signing a prenup? Yeah. As you should,
No. We've talked so openly about this on the podcast.
Do you believe in prenups?
Yeah, I'll sign a prenup. Mm-hmm. But I, again, don't go into my relationships thinking about what they can do for me. I came into it because I just liked the person. Mm-hmm. And I mean, whatever makes them feel comfortable is just what I'm going to do within reason.
No. You said your OnlyFans was $3 a month.
My OnlyFans is $3 a month.
I'm not shouting it out, but you guys know where to find it. Okay, so how do you break up your OnlyFans? Like percentage-wise, like tips, subscription. How does it total? What was it, like $400,000 a month or something?
I probably make around $300,000 a month now. Last month was kind of low at $274, but the month before that I did $334, which is cool.
That's cool. Incredible.
And I also have a Fansly, which generates about $40 to $50K a month. That's just my OnlyFans backup. $3 is a low acquisition cost for you to be able to see hundreds and thousands of pictures and videos. Now, if you want a more personalized connection, such as like a scene with me and Johnny Sins, or like a sexting, that would be an additional cost. I keep everything reasonable, because again, I'm here for sustainability. I'm here for a long time, I'm here for a good time and a long time.
Here for a long time. Not
if
a
you
good
were to
time.
draw a pie, though, how would you allocate the little pieces of the pie? Or the big
I would
pieces, I should
say
say, probably.
messages is a big one because obviously like people buy videos into messages or like will sext. Like if you want me to on the spot get naked in this like Denny's bathroom, I guess I'll do it for $30. You know, right now I'm okay, sure. I would say a big thing too is subscriptions. Like those $3 fucking add up because I would say about 1,000 or so people join every day just to see what's going on, you know, because $3 is a low acquisition cost to be like, okay, I can see I like it. I feel, and a lot of my friends also just support what I do. They see the billboard and they're like, that's funny, you know, and then they'll support that way. So I feel like those things are kind of like the main stuff that like make me a lot of money.
Love it. Cool.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Really
much for
appreciate
coming
it.
back on, Kazumi. Really appreciate
Was it way
it.
better than the first one?
Loved
Fantastic.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a great episode. It really was.
Woohoo.
So,
Oh. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe. We'll link to your info
Guys,
down
make sure to
below in
buy
the description.
Luxar
Check
cards,
me out,
please.
JLSSELBY on
Luxar is the
Instagram.
best.
Her Instagram will be
subscribe.
linked down below in the description.
Yeah,
And
check
my
out
YouTube,
check out
yay.
Kazumi's
And her
YouTube.
YouTube.
Check
She
out
has a YouTube
Kazumi's
channel
YouTube.
now.
And get a
Yay.
free stock.
right.
Enjoy. See you guys.
I want a free stock.
Public.com/crap.
Thank you.